Hello geometry! Today we are going over 6.8, which is just numerical problems. So I wrote out a couple for you and I have some nuggets on the back of information that will help you with your test on Friday. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about this one. So it is number 1, number 3, number 5. I'm going and doing some different ones off of this. I will be giving you different assignments. It will be in Google Classroom, so you don't really need to know the numbers. I just felt like doing it for me. So the sides of two regular octagons are 4 and 6 inches. Find the ratio of their perimeters and areas. So with this, we need to first set up the ratio of their sides. Pretty simple. Their perimeters is equal to the ratio of their sides. Now there's one thing here. 4 over 6 is not simplified, so we have to simplify that to 2 over 3. Okay, so this is of the perimeters. So the perimeters is 2 over 3. However, sides to areas is actually squared. So 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9. So this is for the areas. You have to square the sides, okay? So the perimeter, or the ratio of their perimeters, is the same thing as their sides, and the ratio of their areas is the squares of both their sides, okay? Now, number 3 says the sides of two regular polygons of the same number of sides are 1.8 inches and 4.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. The area of the first is 96.2. Ooh, I know what we're going to deal with here. 96.72. I don't think I said the 7 in the first place. Find the area of the second. That is our x. So I need to square these sides. So I'm going to do 1.8 times 1.8, and that's 3.24. And I'm going to do 4.5 times 4.5, and that's 20.25. And that's going to be equal to 96.72 over our unknown. At this point, it is just cross multiplication. So I'm going to multiply those, and I'm going to multiply those. I'm going to move that over here. So I'm going to have 3.24x equals 20.25 times 96.72, and that is 1,958.58. From here, I just divide both sides by the 3.24, and I have that my area of the second is 604.5, and it is in square inches. So all we have to do here is bring in a little bit of the algebra. We use the geometry to set up the ratios, and then we bring in the algebra to solve from there. Okay? Number 5 is a little different. I like this one because it says if the length of an arc is 75 degrees, the length of an arc of 75 degrees is 18 inches, what is the radius? So I'm going to use circumference because I think it's easier to, well, first off, it's saying length, so we have to use circumference. But I always like using the circumference because to find radius, you end up just dividing by 2 pi at the end. Okay, so it is 75 degrees over 360 degrees is going to equal 18 over our circumference. We don't know our circumference, so we are going to solve for that. So we've got 18 times 360, 6480 equals 75 times the circumference. Divide by 75 on both sides, and we have that our circumference equals 86.4. Well, I know that circumference is 2 pi r. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2 pi, and I'm going to end up with my radius as 13.8. And this is in inches. So we go back and we check, it's in inches. So I found that my radius is 13.8 inches. All it was going backwards in one of our formulas where we have, which was arc length divided by circumference equals the angle divided by 360. Okay, I put theta because I'm so used to algebra 2 and pre-calculus, but that is our angle. Okay, so angle over 360. I used that to find the measurement of my radius because I also know that circumference equals 2 pi r. Okay, now on the back here, oh, I do have one more example before I get into the little nuggets. So if the radius of a circle is 2 inches, find the radius of a circle whose area is 4 times as large. So the first thing I need to do is I need to find my first area. So that's going to actually be 4 pi, because 2 squared, so 2 squared times pi, because it's pi r squared, is 4 pi. Okay, so I'm going to leave the pi here just so I can show you what is happening. So I've got 4 pi. So my area is 4 times as large. So I'm going to do A here. So 4 times 4 is 16 pi, which makes my radius 4 because it's going to be the square root of 16. And then B is what happens if it's twice that. So if it's 8 pi, what happens to my radius? So we have to find the square root of 8. Flip the phone, square root 8, and that's 2.8 here. So 2.8 is our radius. So if you look, the radius actually doubles when the area is 4 times as large. So if you were to double the radius, that would mean that your area would end up being 4 times as large. And then this is if you make it twice as large, it actually goes down exponentially. So it's just a little nugget of information here, kind of. You're going to have something that asks what happens if you double its radius. Well, it's going to get 4 times as large. So if you quadruple its radius, it's going to get 16 times as large. It goes up exponentially. Okay, and then on to your little nuggets. Finding radius given circumference or area. So I put the 2 formulas here because we need to keep that in mind. So the first thing I'm going to do is what happens if we are given the area. I can turn my phone on its side to make it easier. So here I have pi r squared equals 256.2. I'm going to drop the units for right now, but I'm going to kind of circle it because we'll come back to that. So what I can do here is I can divide both sides by pi. So I've got 256.2 divided by 3.1416. And I end up with r squared equaling 81.55. I can now take the square root of 81.55, and that's going to give me my radius equaling 9.03. And then we bring down the units and we have inches. From here, knowing my radius, I would be able to find diameter. Diameter is just 2 times my radius. I could find circumference, which is 2 times pi times my radius. So from this, if given the area, that's the easiest way to find circumference from there, okay? I'm gonna go over and do circumference now. So circumference is 2 pi r equals 96 feet. Oh, I don't need that yet, I'm gonna circle it. Okay, we're gonna circle it and we will come back to that. So I've got 96 feet. So I'm actually gonna divide both sides by 2 pi, which is 6.28. So I'm gonna do 96 divided by 6.28. And I'm going to get that my radius is actually 15.3. Okay, and I'm going to bring down my feet, and I have my radius. Again, from here, I could easily find my diameter, which is 2 times my radius. I could find my area, which is pi times my radius squared. So you can see how, given the radius or being able to find that, even if it's asking you for your diameter, it's always cool to go back and just find the radius. Break everything up into the little pieces that you are given, or that break up into the pieces that you can find based off of what you're given. We know pi, we've only got one other variable from there. So your little nugget of information for today. Tomorrow I will be posting a video with some special notes to review for your test on Friday. Please make sure to log in. You will also have a quiz tomorrow over 6.7 and 6.8. So be prepared, make sure you look over your notes, and I'll see you tomorrow.